What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting into my Week 4 NFL Power Rankings, an insane week of football. But as we're going to get into this, a lot of these teams that I have here, my opinions really haven't changed all too much on a lot of these teams. You're going to see that effect in this video, but let's get into these predictions here. Starting out with the worst team in football, the Chicago Bears, just getting obliterated this week against the Chiefs. Yeah, this Bears team's just not good at all. Offensively, this is what we thought the strength would be of this team, and they're trash. Let's just be straight up. This Bears offense is very, very bad, to be honest with a lot of you Bears fans. But the Bears and the defense, man, it's probably the worst. I mean, it's close between a few other teams that we'll get to, but the defense has just been very bad as well. Moving on, we have the 31st team, the Arizona Cardinals, jumping up a spot. And a lot of people probably saying that the Cardinals should be higher than this. I'm going to lay off for a week on Arizona. I'm very impressed with what this team showed, beating a very good Cowboys team and just really dominating that football game. They were the better team somehow. The Cardinals were the better coach team. That's the way they won that football game. So this team's been very well coached to start of the year. If you're a Cardinals fan, you got to be happy with those hires that you guys took to get away from the horrible coaching that you had before. So happy for Cardinals fans, but they're going to be coming up just one spot here. I still need to see more of this team. This team's been competitive for sure, but still need to see more. And still, I think, probably the worst overall roster in the league, aside from the coaching. Jumping up a spot, though, we have the Texans. 1-2, another team that gets a big win this week against the Jags. Yeah, big win for the Texans. You got to love that for them. C.J. Stroud playing great. Good start to the year for him. He's looking like a solid quarterback. And yeah, the Texans really good offensively. The defense looked very good as well, stopping the Jaguars. But good week for the Texans, coming in at 30. All right, and then 29, the Denver Broncos, dropping down 16 spots. Yes, I had this Broncos team at 13, and I will raise my hand that I was completely wrong about Denver after this week. I thought this defense was going to be another really good season for this defense. That was obviously not the case. This defense has been absolutely atrocious, giving up 70 points. I don't care how good the Dolphins' offense is, 70 points to that Dolphins' offense. And then you look at the backups come in for the Dolphins, and they still torch this defense. I don't care how much injuries they have on that side of the ball. That is absolutely atrocious. What is happening with Denver? This defense was one of the best in the league last season. They didn't even lose too many pieces on that side of the football. I don't even know what happened. Vance Joseph has been a bad hire on that side of the football. And then you look at offensively, This is for sure not Russell Wilson's fault. Russell Wilson is being the quarterback, not the $250 million quarterback, but he's being a good quarterback to start up this season. There's been some cases where he could have won the football game, but this is not on Russell Wilson. How do you expect Russell Wilson to win a football game when your team is Cortland Sutton fumbles the football twice and the pass protection has just not been great? So the Broncos, it's really on the defense right now. Sean Payton, it's just been a bad hire so far. So the Broncos really need to figure things out. 28, we have the Commanders dropping down a spot, 2-1. Last week's win against the Broncos just not looking too good. I mean, yeah, Sam Howell did not play good in this game. The Bills' defense was buckling down. They got demolished this week. They were clearly the worst team, so they're going to take a teardrop here back down to the bad tier, and not a great week for the Commanders. 27, though, jumping up a spot, we have the Carolina Panthers. And I honestly liked what I saw from the Panthers offense this week with Andy Dalton. He came in, He looked pretty good. The weapons, Adam Thielen had a pretty good game against Seattle's defense that was a little bit banged up. And then you look at what the defense did give up 37 points, but the Seahawks offense was clicking, and the Panthers defense had some injuries there, and they held Seattle in the red zone to start out with 5 field goals. So they played well, but their defense just got tired. I'm not worried about that side of the ball. So I ultimately think it was a decent week for Carolina. They just ran into a much better team in Seattle on the road. That crowd was just clearly affecting that offensive line with those false starts. So the Panthers going to come in at 27. 26, we're going to have the Rams staying at the same spot. The Rams this week, just rough loss against against the Bengals. That offensive line got absolutely worked. Matthew Stafford, surprised he's still alive after that one. But, yeah, the Rams just, decent week for them. I mean, not a good week. So, Puka didn't play as well. The Bengals defense did a good job scheming up with him, and the Rams defense tried to keep him in it, but not good enough. 25, we're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders staying at the same spot. Questionable coaching by Josh McDaniels to not go for that on 4th down. I don't know what they're doing there. Go for it. You can get this game. You can tie this game up, essentially. I don't know what they're doing. The offense, just not enough with Devontae Adams. Josh Jacobs kind of struggling to start up this season. And the defense is just not good at all. So the Raiders going to come in at 25 there. 24, jumping up 5 spots, we have the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts, I'm very happy from what I've seen from the Colts, especially on the coaching. This coaching's been a lot better so far. And then, Gardner Minshew comes in this game, plays a good game for this Colts team. The defense, I'm really liking what I've seen development-wise from this pass rush for the Colts, which was not looking good at all last year. This year it's been a lot better. They played really, really good football against that Ravens front. So the Colts going to jump up 5 spots there at 24. 23, jumping up a spot, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs, just ran into a juggernaut in the Eagles this week. Just clear mismatch game for them. Just can't move the football when you play that good of a defense, and Baker Mayfield struggled this week. The defense tried to keep them in it, but it just was not enough. So my opinion really doesn't change about the Bucs. They just ran into a good team. 22, though, staying at the same spot, we're going to have the Titans. Titans just get absolutely slaughtered this week. Okay, I'm going to have the Titans in the hunt here because of how bad the Jaguars looked this week. So I'm going to keep the Titans in the hunt, but because I could see a world where the Jaguars just fall off the rails and the Titans come up with it. Same thing can be said about the Colts, but I think I kind of need another week for them to move them up that high. But anyway, the Titans, looked good last week. This week didn't look good. It's just that straightforward. They went back down to the mean. The offense didn't play good. The defense, not great, especially with that offense. The way they were playing, you just can't expect too much from that defense. They ran into a very good Browns defense, and it just wasn't enough. All right, 20, jumping up 3 spots here. We have the New England Patriots. At 1-2, getting a win this week. We skipped one. 21, we have the Jets. Sorry, guys. The Jets are going to come in dropping down 2 spots, so now we already know who 20 is, but we'll just get to the Jets here. The Jets just clearly offensive problems. It's just not enough to win football games when your offense is just barely moving the football. The defense, unbelievable unit. They kept them in it all game. They've kept them in it in the first 2 games, and just not enough. Zach Wilson just not good enough. This O-line is trash, to be honest. The Jets offense just one of the worst in the leagues, if not the worst offense. So New York dropping down 2 spots there. 20, we have the New England Patriots. Going to be jumping up 3 spots here. the New England Patriots getting a good win against the Jets, so that's good for New England. But yeah, I mean, the offense, ran into a good defense. Mac Jones did enough in this one to get the win. Patriots defense played well against a bad New York offense. So it was just a mismatch, I think, from the start, and the Patriots got the job done. So good win for New England. They're going to be coming up a lot of spots from a lot of teams dropping down as well, like the Broncos, the Jets. They deserve to come up 3 spots, I think, here. All right, 19, we have the Saints. Going to be coming up 2 spots as well here in the hunt tier. And don't take too much stock in the Saints coming up 2 spots. This team is still what we thought this team was, good solid defense. But Derek Carr getting injured is a rough loss, but I'm not too worried about the step down from Jameis. Jameis Winston still can have his moments in a season. He's just a lot less inconsistent, I guess, than Carr. But, the Saints just blowing that 17-point lead, that's tough for them. But, again, my opinions really don't change on this team from a tough loss. They were the better team for a lot of that game. So, really just coming up 2 spots because of the Jets and the Broncos falling that far. All right, number 18, jumping up 2 spots as well. We have the Vikings. Basically the same thing for Minnesota here. The highest ranked winless team so far is Minnesota by a long shot. The next one is 9 spots down with Carolina. But Minnesota, I mean, they've lost 3 games to 1 score. That's literally the opposite of what we saw last season. Just, the coin has flipped for the Vikings that now they're going to have to win these football games, not 1 scores. Just very tough loss. They almost won, but couldn't get it done. An 0-3 start is rough for them, but I still think this Vikings team is good enough to be an in-the-hunt team. And in the NFC, you never know with Minnesota. 17, we have the Giants. I'm tempted to move this Giants team, just drop them a lot. They're going to have another tough game against Seattle this week. They just were mismatched against the Niners from the get-go. This offensive line struggled for sure. And if you look at this defense, it's just not been as good as I thought they could be coming into the year. They tried to keep them in it for a lot of that game, but the Niners broke loose, and it's just hard to beat the Niners in this league. So, yeah, the Giants, again, I'm tempted to move them down. If they look bad against Seattle, that defense gets torched. This Giants team might move down. They need a win. Saquon Barkley coming back. They need him back in this game as well. He has a lot of rest to get back from that Thursday night game, of course. But we'll see if Barkley can get healthy this week. All right, 16, we have the Atlanta Falcons jumping up a spot into this playoffs tier. They're already in the playoffs here. Just because they're in the NFC South, they're going to be here. It's really Desmond Ridder holding back this team. I like what we see. A lot of other things from this team. The weapons for the Falcons, I think, are good. The run game was kind of struggling today. I mean, yeah, a couple days ago against the Lions. Don't know what that was about with Bijan, but it was just a struggle. I think they had to stick with it. They kind of got a little bit too greedy and attacked the pass with Desmond Ridder. And Desmond Ridder, I just don't think is it for the Falcons, to be honest. But this defense is trying their best with the talent they got. It's well coached on that side of the ball. So the Falcons, I do think, are the best team in the NFC South, and they're going to come in here in the playoffs tier at 16. All right, then 15, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Getting a win against the Raiders this week. It was a good win for Pittsburgh. But, yeah, I mean, I haven't liked too much what I've seen from Kenny Pickett. I think he can be better than this. He played better, I think, last season for the Steelers. He needs to, kind of get a little bit better there. But offensively, it's just not the best unit, not enough talent. Coaching on that side of the ball is not great, but this defense for the Steelers is phenomenal. That pass rush is just dominant. The secondary is good. It's just a scary unit on that side of the ball, and that'll keep them in a lot of football games. Just a lot better than what we saw from this defense than in week 1. Just kind of an outlier week, it seems. So, classic Mike Tomlin team's back here at 2-1. They're going to be coming up a spot. 14, we have the Green Bay Packers jumping up a spot. With all the injuries with the Packers this week, to get this win still is huge. Aaron Jones out in that one. David Bakhtiari out, one of their offensive linemen. The O-line was very beat up in this game. The pass rush really good against the Saints. Jordan Love really tried to carry this team, and it worked in the end. The Packers got a couple touchdowns. They win this football game. So, you love to see that for Green Bay. Great week. And they get the win. My opinion really doesn't change for this team. If they get healthy, this team's very good. So, a lot of Packers fans, I say they should be very happy with this team's performance so far. All right, then 13, we have the Chargers going to be coming up a spot. Opinions really don't change on them. They get a good win against a mediocre Vikings team on the road. It's a tough atmosphere. Getting the win is big. But, other than that, this Chargers team is just not well coached. And they're led by a very good quarterback in Justin Herbert, who played very good in this game. But, again, opinions don't change about a lot of these teams, as we've seen. So the Chargers coming up just one spot because of the Broncos fall. This is where you finally get the effects of that Broncos mega drop over with. The Chargers come up by a spot. But then we're going to have a team dropping down 3 spots. We have the Jaguars at 12, and just the past 2 weeks have been just bad from this Jaguars offense. Just can't finish drives in the red zone. That's been a very big concern. I think you got to point a little bit to coaching with Doug Peterson on that, because they got talent on the receivers, and Trevor Lawrence in the running game. Got a decent old line as well there. It's just been a struggle. The defense gets torched this week by the Texans. Yeah, the Jaguars have been an iffy team, the past couple of weeks. Even in that week 1 game, the defense didn't look great. So, need to get back. I still think they're the best team in the AFC South by far and away right now. But still, just not a good couple weeks. They need to figure some things out. All right, number 11, we're going to have the Browns jumping up a spot. The Browns coming in here at 2-1. Just this defense just absolutely demolishing the Tennessee Titans. What a win. This defense is clearly one of the best defenses in the NFL. And Deshaun Watson in the offense, you see kind of the effects of losing Nick Chubb. Deshaun Watson, despite the score, it was really the defense that really helped this offense out. I just don't know about Watson right now. I think that this is why this team's in the playoff tiers, because this offense is just not great. But this defense is, arguably the best in the league. This defense, I think, was Zadarius Smith and that defensive line, and of course Myles Garrett. It's just extremely dominant on that side of the ball. So, 11 for the Browns, but the offense, I think that's why they're a playoff team at most right now. So, need to figure some things out on that side of the football. All right, number 10, jumping up a spot, we have the Lions. Just great week. The run defense, I really liked what I saw from them against Bijan. Much better this week than last week. So that's good for the Lions. But other than that, the offense looked good. My opinions don't change on the Lions. They're the same as what I think about them the past few weeks, besides that run defense stepping it up. So good defense. Jared Goff and this offense can be very explosive and a great O-line. So that's my thoughts on the Lions. Number 9, we have the Seahawks jumping up a spot. This week the offense is getting some things together after that atrocious week 1 performance. Geno Smith, very good quarterback. If there's any doubt about him, it should be in the drain at this point. He is a top, 10 quarterback for Seattle, and he's going to be a really good one. And then with all these weapons, it's just one of these guys breaks out each week, whether it's DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. We're still trying to see one from Jackson Smith and the Jigba, but I'm confident that he's going to get one soon. The Seattle team, really figuring some things out. And then the pass rush. I know it's against a bad Panthers offense, but Boye Mafe looked really good this week. The Seahawks. And then I want to point out the O-line. I mean, this offensive line has been banged up. And, the coaching, I really got to point to that. Our coaching for our O-line is really stepping it up this year because with these backups in, this O-line has been playing very good ever since that Rams game. So, I love what I'm seeing from that. The defense needs to get some healthy. Jamal Adams is coming back this week. That's going to be big for that run defense and that pass rush. So, I'm excited for Seattle, man. This team could come into the contenders tier soon if they keep this up. This team is good. All right, and then dropping down a spot, we have the Ravens at 2-1. Really, I think that the injuries is why this team's in the playoffs here. I know they lose this week to the Colts, which is rough. They should win that game. They're the better team. But, the injuries are just rough for this Ravens team. Just every year it just feels like this. But, without those injuries, this team is a top team. So don't forget about that. The Ravens are still up there, and I still like this football team. All right, and then that is the playoffs tier. Let's go to the contenders tier. Starting out with number 7, jumping up a spot, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, 1-2. They're going to be coming here above the Ravens because of what we saw from the Ravens here, and the Ravens dropping out of the contenders tier. The Bengals this week, this defense just works that Rams offensive line, dominant defensively. The secondary looks good. The offense, Joe Burrow kind of banged up in this game. We still need to see some improvement, but we see this every year with this Bengals offense that it just kind of struggles to start of the year. Not what you want from it, but, they get better. Zach Taylor, I still have confidence in him as a coach, so I'm not worried about the Bengals one bit. They needed this win. This was a must-win game, and they get it. And then jumping up a spot. And also the white out in Cincinnati, man. Those uniforms are sick that they got. And that crowd, you love seeing it. All right, and then number 6, we have the Bills staying at the same spot. And I think it's safe to say the Bills back. They got a big game against the Dolphins, so maybe that's when we're going to officially say if this Bills team's back. But, Josh Allen playing a good football. I know he had a turnover or two, I think, maybe into this game, but not entirely sure about that. The defense just crushed the Commanders. Washington couldn't get anything going. That's back-to-back weeks where the defense just was phenomenal. Even in that Jets game, I know it's with Zach Wilson, but the defense was still very good. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from that defense. And Josh Allen, man, really good quarterback. So the Bills come in at 6, yeah. And then dropping down 3 spots, we have the Cowboys. The Cowboys, weird team every year. They just dominate both of their teams, the Giants and the Jets, back-to-back weeks, both New York teams. And then they come out and they play Arizona, a game that they probably should have crushed as well, and they get beat. They were the worst team on Sunday. That's just weird. That is very weird. And I think that points to Mike McCarthy. We saw that in Green Bay, where a Mike McCarthy-led football team just has a few weeks where this team looks flat. The Cowboys looked flat in this game. Nothing else to say about it, just especially offensively. It's just weird, man. The Cowboys, you think they're going to be one of the best teams in the league, and then they lose to the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm just like, what is with this Cowboys team? All right, and then number 4, we're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs. Here, I'm debating between these two, but I'm going to put the Chiefs at 4 here. Dominant week by Patrick Mahomes. It was against the worst team in football, so you don't really know too much about that. Travis Kelce, great game. The Kansas City Chiefs are the Kansas City Chiefs, and the defense shut down the Bears. So not a whole lot there, but I'm going to put the number 3 team jumping up 2 spots. We're going to have the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, at this point, laying a 70-burger historic win against the Denver Broncos. You got to put the Dolphins here over the Chiefs because I think this offense is more explosive. You know, you obviously have Patrick Mahomes, who is probably the better quarterback, but Tua, man, he's been playing like a top 5 quarterback in the league so far this season. And Mike McDaniels, you got to give credit to him. What a coach. He might be one of the best coach in the league. I mean, that's not overstating it from what we've seen. I mean, just a dominant head coach. So the Dolphins coming at number 3. But it's close between those two. And it's close between all 4 of these teams upcoming. We have the Niners at 2, jumping up a spot. San Francisco, dominant win against the Giants. Just a clear mismatch. That defense crushed that Giants offense. And Brock Purdy got the job done. So the Niners, opinion doesn't change about them, just coming up because of the Cowboys dropping. So well-deserved for the Niners. And then the Eagles at number 1. I'm going to keep them here. This might be a little bit controversial, but this Eagles defense, I think, is one of the best, if not the best, in the entire league. I think this roster is the most complete in the league. Offensively, still trying to figure some things out with the new offensive coordinator, but they got a lot of talent in that football. The offensive line is, I say, the best in the league. The running game hasn't taken any setbacks, and Jalen Hurts is still a really good quarterback. So the Eagles, I think, are the number 1 team in the league, but it's very close. Once you get to that 1 through 4 mark, you can flip all of these whichever way you want, and I wouldn't really complain with how you ranking them. So, yeah, this is my power rankings video today. We've had a weird, wonky start to the year. The Broncos, I think, are the team that's clearly under exceeded my expectations by a ton. I was very high on this Broncos team coming into this year, like I was last season, and it's just blown up in my face. And I feel bad for you Broncos fans. I'm sorry from what we've seen. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your power rankings. Anyway, guys, peace out.